The Mount Pleasant Public Schools Board of Education regular meeting on May 6, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. in the high school cafeteria. This meeting of the Mount Pleasant Public Schools Board of Education is a meeting conducted in public, but is not a meeting of the public. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. The purpose of today's meeting is to conduct regular business that requires action by the board. These items may include those discussed at previous meetings or presented to the board for discussion this evening. At this time, please turn off the silence of cell phone and stand for our pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I'm going to read our Indigenous Land Acknowledgement Statement. The Mount Pleasant Public Schools is honored to acknowledge the Anishinaabe people whose traditional land we are gathered on today. To recognize the Anishinaabe people and their ancestral land is our expression of gratitude and appreciation, and a way of honoring the Indigenous people who have been living and working on this land since time immemorial, and whose land on which the Saginaw-Chippewa Indian tribe has resided and has continued to reside on for centuries. We feel it is important to understand the long-standing history of this land and to seek to understand our place within that history. I'm also going to read here our summary of our educational governance agreements. We have the full document available at the table at the entry, but this is kind of the headers. As board members, we are committed to the following: professionalism, respect, and equity, inclusive collaboration, responsibility to a forward-looking vision, dedication to community engagement, and a commitment to continuous growth. We're going to do our roll call.
Jessica Jernigan here.
Dean Pengel here.
Amy Reed here. Amy Bond here.
Tim Whitaker here.
Thank you, everybody. We have to start by approving our agenda.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, everyone. That brings us to our superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. The first item on our agenda this evening is a presentation of the Gresham-Isabella RESD General Fund Budget and Resolution for the 24-25 school year. And joining us here this evening is Kevin Cole, Associate Superintendent from Gresham-Isabella RESD. Thank you, Kevin, for being with us tonight.
Well, you're welcome. So you've got my comment of the budget. This year, there were quite a few larger changes to the budget, and on the third page, I summarized all those large things. There's so many of them. I'm not going to really go through each one of those individually. If anybody has any questions, just feel free to ask me. But I'm going to talk about the bigger picture items because this would really take quite a while to go through all these in detail. If you look at the first page of our budget, it lists our millage rates, and they're the same rates that we've been levying for a few years now. And I'm assuming these won't be rolled back because we don't have our new taxable values, and I can prepare this budget so far in advance that I've lucked out all the years I've been here. We've not been rolled back yet, so I'm hoping that we won't be rolled back for the coming year. If that was the case, I would have to change these millage rates. And you can see our board's going to take action on this budget June 12th of 24. Go to the second page here. You'll see that our local sources, you're going to see three columns here. The left-hand column is our actual audited numbers for our last audit for 22-23. The middle column is our final amended budget for 23-24. And then our proposed budget for 24-25 in the right-hand column. I'm going to kind of jump between those columns a little bit. So local sources is almost entirely property taxes in most years. However, we are currently getting like 5.3% interest on our bank accounts. So interest has become a bigger portion of that. In our current year, about $267,000. And Next year, I'm projecting about 200,000, I'm expecting that those rates to fall off a little bit, maybe not, so. State sources, about $3.5 million of our current year budget is retirement funding that we get. And some of that money, it all comes to our general fund, and then we transfer some of it to our other funds, mostly to the special ed fund. And but you can see that it's going to drop off in 24-25. I'm projecting that it's going to go down about 1.3 million because this year, the governor's proposal and now the Senate and House have all projected lower retirement rates because we have fully funded the retiree health insurance. I didn't expect it for another year or two, but they're actually expecting to be funded about 130% by September this year. That's the newest numbers I've heard. That's just incredible. So anyways, they're able to back off the retirement rates because they no longer need to fund that unfunded liability. And they're taking that $670 million and they're going to spend it on education in other ways. You know, they're going to redirect it to foundation grant and other things that get it more in the classroom. So, federal sources, there's only 2 grants that we get in our general fund that's federal. And last year, 22-23, we got a trails grant, and then for 24-25, we're getting a trails grant. And that is just money in and out. The 267,000 and 625,000. If you look down under other, farther down, you'll see that the money goes right back out to other entity. We're just a pass-through entity. In the middle column, we got a student success grant, and we're using that to provide service to our local districts in the form of those mental health type services that we're performing, and that would provide extra revenues for doing those services. Other sources are the amounts that we bill our local districts for technology, business services, and pupil accounting services. And those don't seem to change much from one year to the next. Now under pupil services, it used to be the only thing we had on this line was truancy services. It was about $100,000. But you see that it's a lot more than that now. It's $1,357,000 this year. And that's because that we provide all the mental health services to our local districts. And also that student success grant is also written down there. So that whole line there, all those numbers are basically 100,000 for truancy services, and the rest is mental health services for our local districts, students in our local districts. Instructional staff, we provide instructional services to all our locals. And you'll see that for the coming year, it's going up quite a bit, 1.5 million, 1.9 million. We got additional funding for early literacy, about 200,000. You know it's going to be some form of people will hire, so that we built in the budget. We're not sure what it's going to look like because our Shelly oversees our instruction department. She's going to work with locals to see what kind of services they want. Also, we're hiring an additional person. I have a fancy name for it. I can't remember the entire name, but it's educational technology. And that's going to help bridge the tech department with instruction, teachers and instruction, and also include artificial intelligence. We have a belief that artificial intelligence will play more in our education system going forward, so we want to have a person that's going to oversee some of that, those type of services. General administration is basically the board and superintendent. I used to say there was an administrative assistant, but he really doesn't have an administrative assistant anymore. I guess with technology and stuff, doesn't have a lot of walking traffic like you would in local districts. So. And business services, you'll notice in the middle column that it went up a little bit this year because we added a local LEA business manager position and the benefits coordinator, and we also had a person that retired during the year, so we had kind of 2 people working together, and then that person retired, and so our costs went down for 24-25 because we had a new person was being taught by the person that was leaving. So operations and maintenance hasn't changed much. That's custodial and the maintenance staff and our utilities and so forth. Central services is our technology department, and people auditing services that we provide to our local districts. Actually, we contract with Claire Gladwin to do that service for our local districts. And operating transfers in, those are amounts paid by other funds for hours for business services, technology services, operation and maintenance, and so forth. And operating transfers out is mostly retirement transfers to other funds, mostly the special ed fund, but it also some of the other funds have programs that are fully funded, and we make up the shortfalls in that funding. About $450,000 to transfer to other funds to make up those shortfalls. So you'll see that this year our net change in fund balance that we're projecting for 24-25 is a reduction of $235,000. When I was doing the budget, I didn't feel comfortable reducing the retirement rate by 6.31% because statutorily they can't reduce the retirement rate until the retirement rate is until retirement is fully funded. It's going to take an act of the legislature to approve that. Since then, all three proposals, the House, Senate, and the executive proposal, all included the reduced retirement rate. And so I think I was being overly conservative. And so I'm likely going to have to reduce our budget retirement on the general fund by about $197,000, which would still leave us with a small deficit. But we typically don't spend our entire budget. So I expect to break even or maybe even add a little bit of money fund equity, but there's still a lot of unknowns because it's still really early. I don't know if anybody has any questions. It's quite a bit here.
I just clarify for the board, when Kevin mentioned the mental health services provided to local districts, that does include our district, so that is the 2 therapists that are here at Mount Pleasant High School, and then 1 therapist at Mount Pleasant Middle School that are hired through Isabella Citizens for Health. That's a reimbursement through the RESD. So we do, we definitely benefit greatly from that grant.
Yeah, it's like $1.1 million this year, about $1.3 million next year. It's
Amazing.
It is. You know, one thing is a lot of ISDs are too big to take advantage of this because it's not big a dollar amount so they can do anything for their local, so they don't take the funds, and then we apply for funds that other people don't spend, so we've actually got more money. But we've been able to do a lot because of our size. We've touched, I think, every local district now with these services. So it's wonderful.
I just have a couple comments. One is, thank you for the budget notes. It's very helpful. Helps satisfy a lot of questions that I have to ask. Thank you for adding that on to this. It's a very nice tool. I appreciate that. And I also appreciate your aligning things better to be toward, getting the resources and building resources to provide support to the district. I appreciate that also. So thank you.
Yeah, really, everything we do is done to provide support to our districts. I mean, it's, a lot of people say, well, that's your budget, but it's really, everything we do is solely for the purpose of our local districts. And we try to make the most use of our funds, and you'll see that in some of our new policies with special ed, we've calculated actually our fund equity, what we need to maintain, and anything extra, we're going to start paying out to our local districts. And so we're trying to get the most dollars to our locals as possible. And we've been trying to do that with our local funds too for a couple of years.
Well, how many of your districts utilize your services, like you're saying, the accounting, HR, and bills, and payroll?
We do 7 payrolls, one of them is ours. So we do all business services for 4 of our locals, and we do payroll for Mount Pleasant and Elmont. And tax services, we touch not only pretty much every district in our ISD, but we touch a lot outside of our ISD and some other ISDs. So that's even bigger than our business services. So we provide a lot of services there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll reiterate the same thing. Having the budget notes made a big difference for me, so thank you. And it's really nice to see how we directly benefit from all the work that you do.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it. I plan on that's something new I've been providing for our board also, because sometimes it's too much to go through this at our board meetings, because they get really long, because it's just one of our many funds that we have, so.
So tonight, under our new business, we will ask that the board approve the budget resolution that have been provided for us. So the way this process works is that all the local districts are asked to approve the budget resolution, and then that goes to their board, and your board acts on it in June, right?
Right, and the odd thing about it is, every local district vote against our budget, but our board says it's right to approve it, which seems odd, but that's.
You want us to approve
Oh, yes,
it, right?
like, it's not too, every once in a while, board will vote it down, but it doesn't happen too often. Usually if I show up to the meeting, I usually vote for it, that's all.
So we'll do that under our new business, I think, unless you all have questions. Kevin will probably take off, because I'm sure he's probably got another school to go to. Thank you for taking your time to come up
Well, you're
here.
welcome.
The next item under my report is an update from Mount Pleasant Middle School. We've got a whole crew here, so I don't know who's going first, so I'll have you come on up. It looks like Julie and our web team, so thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Julie Wright. I am the Dean of Students at Mount Pleasant Middle School. And with me are Allie Peak, Macy Russell, and Spencer Ansorgi. And we are here to talk to you about web tonight. And I had the opportunity to be trained in the web program probably 7 or 8 years ago. And I was able to see just how positively students and families and the whole community truly is impacted by a program like this that is a transition program for students coming into middle school. And we're very, very, very lucky to receive a grant this fall from the Psychological Indian Tribe to help us bring this program to Mount Pleasant Middle School. And we'd like to tell you what it is all about. So I'm going to hand it over to Spencer, Macy, and Kelly.
Hi guys, how are you? So I'm going to start talking a little bit about just what web is, who participates, what it looks like, just so that you guys kind of have a picture. So talking about what it is, it's basically just a year-long transition program, really set up for the 6th graders, and helping them kind of transition into our school comfortably, right? So the goal is to make sure that everybody kind of builds connections, fosters relationships, and gives them a really positive ground to do that. It is a mentorship program, so we train some 8th graders and then give the 8th graders that responsibility, encourage them to foster their communication skills as well. And realistically, it's really just to try to kind of bridge any type of gaps in the middle school before they get a chance to happen. Some of the things that we do include a middle school orientation for the 6th graders. We do academic checkups through the school year. We'll do social checkups through the school year. And just kind of, like I said, keep that relationship building between the 6th graders and the 8th graders. Some of the reasons why is it's really trying to help show the 6th graders that there are people in the school, not just teachers, but peers that care about them. We're trying to provide some structure for students so that they can make connections to others, encourage them to make choices that they will benefit from, as well as, once again, build some skills that will help them progress through middle school and eventually help them succeed in high school. In terms of who, the 6th and the 8th graders will be the ones directly participating in this. However, we're hoping that throughout the years, as we continue to build a positive school culture around this program, we'll start to see several effects throughout the entire middle school and eventually in the high school as well. In terms of a vision, meaning what we kind of see as the outcome or what our real goals are, we kind of narrowed it down to 4 main bullet points. The first one being increasing student involvement, because when students care about their school, they do better in their school. Creating a welcoming environment so that nobody's nervous about coming to middle school anymore. This should be an exciting thing, not a scary thing. To provide students and staff with some consistency while encouraging accountability. And finally, helping support helpful, kind, supportive, and resilient students. So we're going to take a minute and change your perspective a little bit, if you guys would love to participate with me. We're going to kind of transition into our 8th grade mindset. If you would just follow me. So if you could take your right index finger and put it straight up in the air. Okay, and if you look at your finger, move your finger from maybe we're at 12 o'clock now, go to 3 o'clock, and then 6 o'clock, and then 9 o'clock, and kind of continue to rotate your finger so it's going clockwise above your head. And as you do this, bring your hand down in front of your face. And if you notice, now your hand is no longer going clockwise, but counterclockwise. And when, right, weird, it's kind of like a wait, whoa. So when you change your perspective, okay, it helps you and us, right, develop this resilient, open, inclusive, and empathetic mindset. So now that we've kind of transitioned, I'm going to transition to Macy, and she's going to have you guys train us in 8th graders.
All right, well, leaders, I'm so glad that you are here today, and if you would kindly join me, we are going to do an activity to get to build our teamwork skills this afternoon. So, if you could stand up and join me out here where we have some more room to collaborate. As you guys are working your way out here, we're going to stand in a circle, and we should probably be shoulder to shoulder. All right. So, what I need everybody to do first is hold out their right hand, and when you hold out your right hand, I'm going to be putting a straw in it. All I need you to do for now is hang onto the straw with just your right hand. All right, now in your right hand, I want you to put your index finger on the end of the straw. And then with your left hand, you're going to cross it over and touch the end of the person next to the straw. Okay. Once you do that, you are going to let go with all of your other fingers except your pointer finger. So we should all now just be connected through our pointer fingers. Ooh, good job. All right, so this is all about getting a little uncomfortable and making new friends and facing tough challenges together. So we are going to be doing several challenges to help test our teamwork skills. So the first thing that we are going to be doing is taking 6 steps towards the door. So everybody tilt their head towards the door so we know what way we're going. Awesome. All right. We are going to take 6 steps together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Awesome. Now we are going to work our way back. So everybody tilt your heads back to the way we came from, and let's take 6 steps back. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Awesome. How many of you feel like that was too easy? Alright, so we are going to make this a little more challenging, and we are going to spin. So, everybody tilt your head to the right. That is the direction that we are going to be spinning, and we are going to be doing a 360-degree turn, meaning you should end up back where you started once we are done. So, on the count of 3, we are going to rotate, and again, you do not want to drop the straws. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and go. Careful with the mic cord.
You're doing great, guys. Keep
I love how we're communicating and working together. This is awesome. All right, and I think we're pretty close to where we left off. So good job. All right, we have one more challenge, and this last challenge is for us to go down onto one knee and then stand all the way back up.
I can barely do
We
that.
can do something clever. That is okay. That is okay. So our next challenge then instead is going to be to raise our hands all the way up and then back down in front of us without dropping the straws. So raise as far as you can. All right, and then bring them all the way back. Woohoo! Nice. Amazing. Awesome. All right. So is there anybody who has a challenge that they would like us to try as a group?
Dead silence.
I've had some groups who say they want to try jumping all at the same time to see if they can keep the straws in their hands.
Yeah, never gonna.
All right. Any ideas? Anybody? If not, that's okay. We've accomplished some tough challenges tonight. All right, go ahead and grab the straw with your right hand and let go. That's okay. That's all right. All right, and I will collect the straws. But before we do that, Spencer, if you want to lead us.
Go ahead. We are going to end our activity with a cheer. So for those of you who are loud and obnoxious, this cheer is not for you. All right? This is actually going to be a silent cheer. All right? So as Macy goes ahead and collects those straws, we're going to keep our hands in And what we're going to do is I will roll them out first. We're going to start with 5 fingers out. We will go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then right here. Except it's going to be absolutely silent. I'm not going to count. When we end here, I'd like you to hold it until I'm finished with the launch. All right? And I will do a muscle action. All right, so all 5 fingers in. Are we ready? Completely silent. Ready? The power of one. One song can spark a moment, one flower can wake the dream. One tree can start a forest, one bird can herald spring. One smile begins a friendship, one hand clasp lifts a soul. One star can guide a ship at sea, one word can frame the goal. One vote can change a nation, one sunbeam lights a room. One candle wipes out darkness, one laugh will conquer gloom. One step must start each journey, one word must start each prayer. One hope will raise our spirits, one comment can show you care. One voice can speak with wisdom, one heart can know what's true, and one life can make the difference. You see, it's up to you.
Thanks for playing with us.
Can we ask questions about the web program now, if you want us to bring it to them?
Julie, are you done or want to come back and answer questions?
I can sure.
Yep. I just wanted to share on the screen too and on the presentation, this is the 6th grade orientation tentative plan for our incoming 6th graders. So please guys answer your questions.
So it starts this coming year, which means you'd be working with 7th graders to get them ready to welcome. There'll be 8th graders next year welcoming 6th graders. I got the timeline right?
Correct. Yep.
And so what you modeled for us here is that what 6th and 8th would do together is what, like, how does that fit with?
Yeah, so we have what's called May Play Day. So what we're going to do is we do have all of our web leaders selected. They're going to come and play with us. They'll do like the entire orientation as if they were the 6th graders. So we'll just kind of model that for them. And then we'll have a leadership training where they actually come in for 2 days, like right before school starts, so during the summer. And we'll train them how to foster all of these activities. And then they will then eventually lead them with the 6th graders on 6th grade orientation. So for the selection process, we had an application. Macy, Spencer, Julie, and I went into all of the 7th grade advisories and just kind of explained what it was and the type of people we were looking for. We made sure to tell everybody we were looking for every type of person because we want every single incoming 6th grader to see themselves in the web leaders. We had them fill out an application that just asked a little bit about who they are, what they think a leader is, how they handle any type of adversity in their middle school career, and kind of narrowed it down from there. We have 55 web leaders. We're trying to have 2 per group of 8. So.
And is there any pairing that happens by affinity, or how does the peer mentoring pairing work?
Yeah, so we are trying to pair 8th graders who are not similar because we want students to be able to see themselves in both of their web leaders that they have with their group. So we might have one student who is extremely outgoing with somebody who is normally very shy, but together they're going to work to help their web students, their 6th grade students, to be comfortable and work with their groups as they navigate transitioning into 6th grade.
So this is it's a nationally recognized program. It's pretty scripted for us. So there is actually a system that we observe students during the training days, just to kind of see how they would partner with each other. But also there's a way to place the 6th graders with the 8th graders. We don't want them with someone they know. We don't want them with a sibling. We want them to have the opportunity to learn from someone they don't already have a chance to learn from. So some of the software that comes with the program helps us to do that as well. But a lot of that training for the 8th graders on those 2 days is really just watching how they interact with each other so that we can partner them. That's done by us.
So the pairing of the web leaders is intentional,
Yes.
and then but the pairing with who they have as 6th graders, it's sort of random besides making sure.
That's a little more random, yes, unless it is, we are deliberately not putting them together if we know they have. Yes. Yes.
And it is very difficult throughout the activities at the beginning with the 6th graders for me to come in with my bestie Macy and be like, don't leave my side, don't leave my side, don't leave my side. Throughout the activities, they'll be distanced from one another and they'll end up in different groups. So even on that orientation, we're very mindful of the leaders and how they're paired, but also we're very mindful not so much of who's going to be together, but we're looking to split people apart. Because everybody should be comfortable with being a little uncomfortable.
To what extent is this program like, a special thing, like it's web hour or it's web day? To what extent is it integrated into everyday life at middle school?
Well, this is all new for us here. Our goal is to have our rep leaders together during their advisory so that they do meet every day and so they can continuously plan what are we working on next, who do we need to touch base with, do we need to stop into 6th grade this hour and address something. So if they have that opportunity to meet daily, we probably have the opportunity to bring it in more on a regular basis. So that is our hope. As of right now, the big things are the orientation and then check-ins throughout the year as we feel that those are necessary. So
What does a check-in look like?
again, for us. So probably during that advisory time and during lunchtime. So those would be the biggest opportunities to interact with the kids. We also have some opportunities, if it works, to do something outside of school, if that is something that we feel like fits with what is needed. There are a lot of ideas. There's a whole calendar at a glance, and I don't know if I put that in there, but I'm happy to share that with you, what it looks like every month that we could be doing with this program. So I can share that with Jen if that works, and then you can pass that along. Just to see how big it can be. I think our first year is really just learning each other, having the students learn what it's all about, and getting them to know, like, hey, when I see this student in this color t-shirt, I know that's someone I can go to and trust, and they're gonna help me with whatever I need help with. So I think there's room for it to grow and grow once we are being glad. Thank you. Yes.
Next question. How are you getting the students there? So is it by invite? Are you acquiring students? How are you not leaving any group out in that initial connect?
So they are receiving invitations through their schools, so we'll send them home with 5th grade teachers, hopefully in their wags. We already started talking about it with the 5th graders, and then they come and visit our building in the next couple of weeks, and there will be a conversation there as well, where we hope to have some of our brand new web leaders who are just learning about this, but able to make a connection and let them know that they're excited that this is happening. Part of this is also that they receive a personal phone call from their web leader the week before the orientation, and that's always the most anxiety causing because they're not used to making phone calls. Kids aren't doing this. We give them a script and let them know, like, this is what you say. And it's pretty neat to see them call their 6th grader and say, I can't wait to see you. And we're throwing food in there for these, so that will help. Also with the timing, we want to make sure that everybody is able to be there. It's huge. And I watch kids and parents come very, very nervous, very anxious about starting this new adventure. And when they leave orientation, they're excited, they feel connected, they feel ready to go. And they feel like they're part of that building, and that's huge. So as many ways as we can let them know about it, the better, because ideally we want them there.
Thank you.
I have one more question. And again, I know this is your first year. How do you measure success? What metrics are you using? Like, what does it look like when you know it's working?
My first experience with web was at a former middle school I worked at, and I was just in near school, so my classroom, and I just heard loud music and like cheering students from the gym. And I was like,
What's going on
you
here?
know, just kind of like stuck my head in it. So to see the energy that orientation day, I think is definitely a measure how smoothly things work, how confident our 8th graders are in facilitating the project. But also like our application process. I really think that web is something that people want to be a part of. And so our application of our 7th graders this upcoming year is really going to tell us what was the buzz, right? And particularly the next following year when those 6th graders that came in and experienced it are then finding 7th graders to apply. That's where I think a lot of our metrics of what's the massive impact that this is having, how many people were once web leaders, and then how did that sit?
So does the program provide you with any like tool to like measure? I would assume that our perception surveys can also piggyback right off of that. So some of those specific questions we can definitely pick that, you know, do we have a connection? We can also add something specific in there as well, even for our 6th graders or 8th graders or something. So we can build something as well for specific data. Awesome, thank you. It's just so much easier for us to understand when we're not in the room. Thank you.
Are the 7th graders excited to start? Can you see?
Yes.
Keep having, like, we don't teach seventh graders, so I know, and they'll come for a class check. When's our next meeting? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's good to see you, right? So they are excited about it.
And I do have 7th graders. Some of them were made a web team, so they're like, when are we getting out? When are we getting out? When are we getting out? And so they're excited for sure.
That's awesome. Well, we can't wait to hear how it goes. Good luck. And I really appreciate the eye out on all students, because I think some of the issues with programs like this is that often we only tap into the pool of applicants, and that might not look like every student. And so please continue to do that.
And it was definitely one of the foundational things in our training that we were at is web needs to be where everyone belongs. You're not, if your web leaders aren't representative of your school, you need to revamp your application process and recruitment techniques, because our students need to see themselves in the web leaders.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, mine's not as fun. I don't have an activity for you. But I have 2 slides, I think just for some quick, maybe 3, for quick update of end of year and some things that we are really proud of over our school year. And one, I usually try to bring some data to you. And this data can be broken down a million different ways. So I know that we like to see a lot of different, but we're just going to do an overall today. And this is really just looking at the decrease of behavior referrals, or we have our blue slips that we call them in the middle school, over the past couple of years. And 21-22 was our first normal year back after COVID. We had kind of the cohort year, but 21-22 was the back, everybody pretty much face to face. So that, I feel like, is our start of our baseline. Again, we did have a baseline a few years ago, but after COVID. So overall, we've had a decrease of 40% in our behavior referrals from 22-23, and a decrease of 45% from 21-22. So we've made great progress in the past couple of years with a lot of variety of things, and I kind of started to list on the next slide. But when you look at this data, the black is our referrals with minors and majors. But then, as you recall, we took cell phones out of our building this year, which was probably one of the best moves one of the top moves that we made at the middle school. And so the blue on there is without cell phones. So we have those numbers in blue are the number of behavior referrals or blue slips we have for just cell phones. So as you can see in September, we had 110 behavior referrals on cell phones. So cell phones are still here, they're still there, but we ask that the process is if a cell phone is seen or heard, a teacher just sends them to the behavior intervention room, and we have a process that they follow. So when you look at that, the black though is overall with cell phones, and as you look at kind of the decrease, you can see like the decrease each month. The black is just total, and then what the decrease is with the cell phones taken out of it. So also overall in 21-22, we had 2,060 behavior referrals, 22-23, 1,900, and that's of course August through April. We don't have our full school year up there yet. And then so far we have 1,141, and it'd be under 1,000 if we took our cell phones out. So we're pretty proud of the behavior work that we have been doing at the middle school, and our data is really showing it. So really proud of some of those months with 80%, 70%. April and May is normally our higher months. As you can see, a 303, a 323, and we came in at 154, which we were pretty excited about. Felt like a little bit more than 154, but so on the next slide, I just listed a few things. This, on both my slides, I put on the bottom so much more because I could just, there's so many things that go into the success of the behavior referrals in our data. And I just put on there 21-22 is our full year, but we've done a lot of restorative work. We have great 3 solid behavior interventionists that really do a nice job with our students, and they really work to help restore or even change the behavior. More supervision in halls. We have hall monitors and also our staff in the halls. A lot with our positive behavior support systems. We have our Euler drops, monthly menus. We do think we have a good solid buy-in with that program with our students. Our success team, which is our MyKIP team as well. We kind of blended all of our teams together into one. We're working with Jim Harris as well as some of the other buildings on MTSS work. We have second steps with our social and emotional work, and we have great counselors too. Our teachers are managing more behaviors in the classroom, and our Capturing Kids' Hearts has really helped to tie it all together and also really given us that structure within the classroom called our discipline ladder that really helps. It really takes everything that they know and all those tools that are in their toolbox and really puts it together to help them be more successful and also our students be more successful as well. I put so much more on there because I could go on and on and on and on. So the last slide is just those great events we have coming up. This week is Staff Appreciation Week, Teacher Appreciation Week. I like to always call it staff because it really is everybody, especially at the middle school, works really hard to show up to work and work hard for our students. So Staff Appreciation Week is this week. Today was Cups and Donuts and Big B Coffee. And we have end of year field trips. The 7th grade already went to the tech center and they had a great time there. Powwow is tomorrow. Student Council has a field trip to the water park May 14th. Our 5th graders are coming, like was just mentioned in the web. So we have May 15th and 28th. SAG Chip has already come, but we have Fancher and McGuire coming. 8th grade exchange, 8th grade celebration, that's that fun 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock dance party for our 8th graders, and it's a beach theme. That is coming up, and then we have our great day of Miles for Miracles and field trips in the afternoon for all students. And we were able to completely fund all of our field trips, our 8th grade celebration, anything that normally we charge like a ticket price or a cost for admission, that is all been paid for completely this year due to our fundraiser for the fall. So we've not asked for any additional money from our families for any of the fun things that we have going on towards the end of the year. And then we have awards. Those dates and times are out there for each one of the teams. And I put on there, there's so much more because every day there's something. And my end of the year list that my teachers has just keeps tweaking and changing and going on and on. So that is my MPMS update. What questions do you have for me? I just want to say I'm really glad that you're not asking families for money to do this awesome end of the year stuff. I'm so glad that it's all paid for. It's a huge step in terms of that. So thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead, Tim.
I want to acknowledge the work, that data that you were showing and the impact is quite amazing. So thank you for your team, because it takes everybody.
Yes.
Everybody to do that, so it's very hard to do.
Yes.
So
We agree, yes. And crunching that data, our behavior interventionists do it for us, and they're great at it now, so we appreciate it. I think you should have real pride in those numbers. I mean, that's not a small, decrease that we're looking at, and we reduce by half, that's huge. I wondered if you could talk just a little bit more. I know you could split it in lots of ways. I'm mostly curious about the majors, the things that maybe takes us students out of the building, right? The ones that we are most aware of. And if you think that's following the same decrease or harder to tell, and if you can't tell me and want to tell me next time, that's perfectly fine.
I mean, most of the things that are major that maybe result in some sort of suspension or, you know, exclusionary from the academics. I mean, we have fighting, possession of a substance, repeat, a lot of times is like the repeated too, as we remember like some of the minors with like disruptions, distractions, some of that, we do have a progressive discipline model, so some of that can make it up to, you know, a certain level that gets them to be maybe excluded.
So do you think it follows the same decreasing trend?
You know what, I would definitely have to look at the data to give you a solid answer.
Yeah.
Yeah. My initial answer is yes, but I would really want to put some numbers to that answer, so.
It doesn't get much better than that, the data, in terms of really seeing the impact of everything you're in the building.
Mhm.
So it's really awesome to see, and, you know, thinking about how something like web can also, right, play into this. It's really, yeah.
Thank you, Darlene. Thank you to our web friends as well. We're going to move on to our district safety update. Matt Walter, thanks, Matt.
Hey, good evening. So this is more of a district approach than a middle school approach. I think the goal tonight is to approve the EOP that we currently have, and then just kind of give you an overview of some of our district-wide procedures that we do. It's in the board drive. Did you all get a chance to see the two folders in there? So hopefully you get to look at that. The full doc is a big doc. It's like 200 pages. Each building is pretty close to the same, besides some maps, personnel, those kinds of things. So for the most part, those plans, the big plans, are about the same. I don't know when we first adopted that. I know that it was last updated in 2019, where there was a big update. But basically since then, we've just updated personnel. So that hasn't changed. Did you look through that and have any questions on just that document? Because that's kind of the big one. Then we can talk about some of the other smaller stuff. Like I said, it's kind of been the same for years that we've adopted. There haven't really been changes, and there's a lot there. So as we get into the short version, I can talk more specifics.
So that's something that I noticed. I think it's very consistent, and but yet having a focus on each one of the buildings and their specific needs or the staff that they have there. So how did you go through that process too? Did you have a team across the district that helped you build all of these? I mean, they're very comprehensive. The detail is crazy. So I didn't know how you went through and captured and built those teams to be that empowered.
So basically, at first we took the things out of the full doc that we use most, the things we practice the most, the things that are most likely to occur in our buildings. For instance, lockdowns, fire drills, tornado drills, our reunification sites and all that. And then we built that smaller, user-friendly, we call short version document based on that. And we actually use the same language that's in the big document, so it's consistent. Again, the full doc is our approved, so we just wanted to pull pieces of it, but we didn't want to change language and do that. So we did that in middle school, and then as we talked with our other administrators in the district, they liked that format, so then we kind of pushed it out. We actually created a template, and then the admin in that building went and kind of with their own personal updates into it, their own maps and such. But it's supposed to be as close as possible per building, so it's pretty fluent if you were to move building to building.
And just so the public knows what we're looking at, is each building has an emergency operations plan, so any possible event, literally, is in there in a plan and how to manage it, and people who have responsibilities to be able to do that, and how to go about that, and where to go about that. I mean, even the language for the announcements on the PA systems overhead, right? So it's very, very in depth. So kudos to everybody. It's very interesting to read, actually, to read a little stressful. But then I thought, but that's supposed to relieve the stress, right? So people are trained now based on all of those AEDs and Narcan. The list was huge on the things that we have to be prepared for any emergency operation at all.
It is a lot, but I think to make it easier, we talk about it a lot. We talk about it at our staff meetings, we bring it up. It's constantly, you know, in all of our buildings brought up. We have our monthly MERT meetings with our teams and our BERT meetings with our teams, and our staffs bring their red folders with them, so it's not just something that collects dust and we forget about it. It's actually a living document. And like most of our drills are unannounced. We don't let them know, so the surprise is there. So they gotta know, the kids gotta know. And I think we're at I think it was 94% of the students in our building felt safe, felt like they knew the plans. We're looking to find out what we can do to help the other 6, but that's a pretty good percent of kids that actually know what to do in all those situations. And we find that when we have subs or visitors in our building, the kids generally can leave the classroom through the drill.
So even it's time the fire department, police departments, everyone's in this. It's not just our district, it's community-wide security emergency. So that is one of the questions. So how do we help train people, new people or subs or people who are here for a short term on some of these protocols?
Yeah, we have the short version in all of our subfolders. That's one of the things, like we pull together our custodial staff, our maintenance staff, and different groups like that, and I can put them in a room and train them, but it's harder to do that with their substitute staff, so we ask in the sub-plans that if they have questions to talk to their neighbor teachers. They do have the plan there in front of them to read through, and again, many times we still have drills and subs in our building, and I don't think it really ever affects it just because the kids know what to do. But we do want to do as much as we can training up front. We do new staff training for all teachers every year, new staff, new custodial, hall monitors, whatever it may be, we try to train them.
Thank you. Thank you. This is great work. Sounds good.
So I guess I really want to say is like, one thing we spent a lot of time on was the medical side of this, the MERT team this year. And with that, nurse staff do a lot of training. So we, like I said, we try to schedule monthly MERT and BERT meetings, which are usually separate, sometimes they're together. But we coordinated some district level MERT meetings where Deb would come in and train a whole group of us together, and that list up there I can barely see from here are the different topics that we did, from stop the bleed, and it was hands-on tourniquet training, seizure training, life back, that's the choking hazard thing. This was individual hands-on training that Deb did with us, and this was a new approach this year to train our MERT teams in all of this. So I think it was really good, and we're looking to put our calendar together for that for next year. So that is a big deal. We've been working on that. I think our BERT teams, for the most part, kind of got it down. We're scheduled to meet monthly, but we meet kind of as needed to review our drills, how they go, review our policy. We're not there to recreate policy. We're just kind of there to see if it went smoothly or what we can put on. So, and one more, I think you've probably seen some of this, the webpage. That's just good for our parents to be able to look and see what we're doing. This kind of has some Q&A type of stuff. I've gotten some good feedback from that, so I think we just put that up there last year. So that's been pretty good. Okay to say is there for that notification system, so I think we don't want to share too much, but share enough so parents know what's going on in those types of things. And it always kind of leads into, when there's an emergency, please try not to call the school, please try not to come to the school, because it really makes things a little more hectic that was that, and then the other link up there was the parent communication. So we try to can some statements because when these things happen, there's not a lot of time to think about your statement that it's going to go out, or sometimes even who's going to put it out. So we kind of can these statements for our bigger events, and then usually come from central office. They insert a few words into those statements just so we can keep parents notified about what's going on sooner than later. That's that, and then we have a couple works in progress. The My Heart Saves School designation, we're working on that. That's, Nurse Deb's been helping us with that too, and that's through our cardiac training, our AED training, making sure everything's up to date with that, AEDs, signage, those kinds of things. The high school, I believe, is all set with that. Middle school just did our drills, so we should be next. Keep moving that way. And then part of that is the AED signage. We're just looking to update that signage as well. There's kind of a lot there in a nutshell, but what about questions?
Thank you, Matt, for all the documents and information. I mean, it takes a lot, but it also is nice to see just how standardized it is. I think that really helps our students too as they move from building to building. I don't know, and it's not really a question for you, it's maybe more for all of us. What I often hear as a board member is the anxiety that the lockdown or secure remote triggers for students, right? And then we add into this, well, you guys if you're on the phone, and thinking about middle schoolers, right, that don't have their phones anymore, and the anxiety that continues to build. And I don't know what we can do on our end to really help mitigate that. And I know how big of a difference secure mode is in lockdown. I don't know if all our students knew that. I don't know how we can help mitigate the anxiety that's there, knowing that there's a reason the anxiety is there, and that, so I don't know, and I'm not being super rude tonight. To me, that's every time we have a lockdown or secure mode, that's typically the feedback we get, right? And it's great, it's there for a reason, and it's safety first, and it's always going to be safety first. I just don't know how we can help our students navigate that.
That's a good question. I think we want them, we work to, practicing makes people more comfortable. Secure mode, well, this time of year we've all done it, so it's almost nothing new. But there also has to be that little piece of uncomfortableness as well, because we don't want it to be where like it's not a big deal, or they don't take it serious, or I'm going to write something on the bathroom wall because that's going to put us in secure mode, and I don't have to take my math test or whatever that may be. So there still has to be a little bit of that, but I think our teachers do a pretty good job monitoring that. We do have some classes with some students where we, when we practice those things, we try to give them heads up too, so they can lead into it a little gentler. But I don't have the exact answer, but it is a concern. It does drive that anxiety.
It's not every student, right? I think there's some that might be more sensitive, and you're right. We have it's a thin line, right? Because we don't want them to get too comfortable either. That's not good. And so I don't have answers, but I know that's something that we hear a lot.
I think we'll put it on the board and continue to look at it. Yeah, we'll bring it up at our next group first. Anything else?
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you. All right, next we'll go into our policy review section. Just give me a second. We did rework a little bit of our policy review schedule, and so trying to get us sort of back on track. Now that we were far off, but we got a little bit behind on what we're doing. So tonight, I thought because the sections were short, we could do the 5,500 and 5,600. That works for everybody?
Yep.
So, Lena, are you able to pull up the chart?
I am just giving you one second. So I have both the charts and the bolts. I'm getting there. I'm getting out of the ears. Okay, I think I'm good.
Okay. So we'll start again with the 5500 school-sponsored and extracurricular activities. 5501 is fundraising activities.
So we did have comments on fundraising activities, and maybe Katie, I'd like you to ask yours first.
Sure, so I just wondered, what are the parameters or filters by which fundraising decisions are made? And I realize that it can be a big gamut, but is there any kind of lens to which those decisions?
I mean, we look at programs that we've done in the past, programs that are similar, kind of the ease of the programs for students, for parents, those kinds of things, but there isn't a set written criteria anywhere for what we do.
Do you recall, Jennifer, by any chance, if this is the only spot fundraising is mentioned in all our policies, or if it's elsewhere? No.
I don't know that.
Can you search Vicky? Because if it's the only spot, I kind of had the same feel. I know the DEI task force has put recommendations forward, or is about to recommend that we look at fundraising through a diversity, equity, and inclusion lens. And again, that could be recommendations, but it felt like if that's the only spot, I don't know if we could write a little bit of a paragraph that's big enough that it doesn't restrict us, but says, you know, fundraising decisions are looked at each building, it's a combination of administrators and PTOs, and we recommend, well, or I don't know, we put something like,
Say that again, it's a combination of,
well, like the people involved, right? So that people know it's not you making the decisions, right? Typically, it's a combination of all that. It could be you, it could be building levels, administrators, it could be our PTOs. And so maybe a description of how, and
So that's an interesting thing that we've noticed in this DEI conversation, some of these things is looking at ways that, are administrative guidelines and they are a policy per se, but then we're noticing certain, like whether they're extracurricular or curricular,
whether they're during the school day or outside the school day, or whether they require,
that might be a good thing to modify in the future once we get that gel a little bit more into DEI. But we were just noticing some of the conversations to help us build language or thought processes, that there's kind of different groups that have different engagement or their structure of engagement and what they're doing as in closest to the nexus, let's say, like students fundraising as compared to the school fundraising as compared to PTO fundraising as compared to the sports. I mean, there's kind of
so keep in mind, this is only focused on student fundraising. So I know that a lot of the conversations that I've been a part of with the DEI task force have really been about PTO fundraisers, right? So there isn't, I am not asked to approve PTO fundraisers. Our parent-teacher organizations are their own 501c3. They are not a part of our organization. So I feel like administrators that collaborate with our PTOs maybe would say, hey, they're thinking about doing this. What do you think? When we look at what student fundraisers are doing, for example, we have a student organization that recently asked to do a baked goods sale during the school day. That's the kind of fundraising question that would come to me, because the guidelines for that then say that if we're selling these food items during the school day, they need to meet our smart food requirements. So that there's a different lens when we're looking at student fundraising than when we're looking at an outside organization like PTOs, athletic boosters, music boosters, those kinds of things.
so I totally miss that.
Yeah, those groups do not, I don't know what they're, oftentimes I get invited to purchase and I'm just as surprised as the next person.
So I wonder, I mean, I totally misread this, right? I misread as a whole fundraising. And so if I'm doing that, I'm guessing others might. So I don't know, maybe we can not define, but I mean, it says, now that I read it, it's two fundraising activities.
So this would be for student clubs or organizations led by students. Students are selling, student involvement is key. That's different than that, you know, these funds that are raised are being deposited into an activity account in our business office, as opposed to the Scholastic Book Fair at any building. Those funds are being deposited to PTO that the district never sees, I don't know how much or how little any book fair makes, that's completely separate. So it is, we are, together in that, those funds are spent on things that benefit students and teachers and that kind of thing, but it is separate. But we could work on some clarifying sentences. Maybe it's a short paragraph or a sentence rather than a fully detailed
So this
process.
is in section 5,500, 5,500, which is school-sponsored extracurricular activities, and maybe 5501 should be student fundraising activities.
That's what we have.
But
Oh, you mean in the
it says-
name?
It says
Put
fund
that-
in the name.
Add student into the title of the policy.
But I still like it with couple
Exactly.
sentences.
Because that group is school-sponsored and extracurricular activities is the overreaching chapter. And then section 5501 is specifically regarding student fundraising activities. Because technically you could have other entities under the extracurricular and or school-sponsored beyond the student. So that could be sections that maybe eventually be added or whatever, but I think to help clarify so people don't get confused was that 5501 was policy for bylaw for student fundraising activities. Even though the next sentence says student fundraising activities, right?
Yeah, we could clarify there in the title and then also add a sentence or two that just clarifies that these are funds raised by students for students and are separate from other 50C3s that also, raise funds on behalf of student organizations.
I mean, in terms of the DEI part, I think rather than policy, we might want to do something like put together some guidelines for parent groups and for students, and they're not policy, they're guidelines. There are ways to do, economic justice oriented fundraising. There's community focused fundraising, which, and in our own community, we know that amongst different groups of people, giving and receiving can look really different. So that might be that's a larger project that we probably don't want to address in policy, but just in.
That's exactly what the DEI group is working on.
No, that is what we're talking about, and it would be, I think, the intent is for all vendors involved in fundraising to look at these guidelines, including students, right? Yeah.
So the difference would just be to differentiate between where the authority lies. I have the authority to tell a student group that they cannot do a fundraiser or they can do a fundraiser. I do not have that authority with an outside organization. That's the difference. So certainly guidelines, recommendations, conversations to keep that process help, kind of broaden perspectives. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, they're their own group, and so we don't have that authority as a board. So, but if anybody would like to propose any sentences or send any sentences that we could add to this policy, I would be super on board for that.
Rating something?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Well, we have two writers on our board, so anytime we talk about writing policy.
Well, I think my brain wanted just a little more of a sentence. I'm sure you have a filter by which we hear them. Do you know what I mean? Whether that's our vision statement or that it just seemed like there needed to be a little more information for whoever's making the decision, but also those who are wondering, what is it appropriate?
Yeah, and I do that, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think just saying, in alignment with our mission, vision, and educational objectives, which again, that's still a judgment call, but it gives a little more structure. Like, this is just one sentence really is it's not getting the job done.
Yeah, we could also, clarify with somehow including the chief financial officer, because a lot of these questions about fundraising actually go to Ginger first, and then she and I talk about it before we can make a decision. So we can work on making this a little bit more robust.
Thank you.
Okay, 5502, Student Senate.
We had no comments on the team.
Policy 5503, Bulletin Boards and Other Student Postings.
No comments either.
5504, school-sponsored publications and productions.
There's no comments.
5505, school attendance on days of scheduled activities.
We had a couple here from Katie and myself.
So as a clarifying question, as the policy reads, is it that they can't be absent for any part of the day or a certain percentage? Say, like if you're in a sporting event, do you have to do the full day, or if you had like a doctor's appointment, or if you were out for?
So a doctor's appointment would be the prior permission from the building principal or designee, because a doctor's appointment would fall under a category of an excused absence. That would be permissible, right? So when you're looking at, this reads prior permission, and so I would say the prior permission goes back to the handbook permission areas for excused absences. So a student that is attending or that is missing school because they have a medical appointment, that would be an automatic excused absence, so then they would be able to participate. I believe there is a section in the school handbook, and I can get additional exact information, I don't want to misquote it, but where it does break down the portion of the day. But again, that would be if the portion of the day where the student isn't in attendance is not able to be excused. So if there's a way the student's on a college visit, the student, those kinds of things that would be an excused absence, I believe that still works. But I could do a little bit more investigation, because really what we are talking about, obviously because of the activities, is the mostly our secondary buildings and how they implement.
I wonder if we could spell that out more. That it's absent and unexcused. Even just that word, because my comments were that it seems to contradict a 5507 policy, and I think if I had seen the word unexcused, then I would have been clear.
Okay.
Because that's really what we're after, right? It's the students that are not there without any excuses to miss, that then want to come back and participate in the play or sports, right? So.
Okay. Let me get some more language from the high school, middle school handbooks, and then we'll talk about 5507 and kind of bring those back together.
I think that prior permission part 2 is just a little gray.
But
does that mean the day before? Does that mean ahead? But you clarified it.
Yeah, and so I read prior permission as our students know what equates to an excused absence. So, but that's not clear.
Well, and so to me, I read this as a timeline. What if the student is sick, is excused, but didn't have prior permission, right? It's an emergency, they have the doctors. There's nothing prior, right?
But if they're sick and
But they cannot come back.
yeah, if they're sick and they don't go to the doctor, then it's a verified absence, not an excused absence. So that would be different. So we can work on that one. Yeah.
Thank you.
5506, field trips.
There were no comments.
Okay. And then 5507, do you want to?
So for me, it was just the beginning. So, what I said, it was defining extracurricular activities. And I just got confused over how students could, I don't know. I got confused with what I just read in 5505.
Is there a section in 5507 that references attendance?
I think it's defining extracurricular activities as what it's not. And so then I was reading the not, and I'm just tired. I think it's fine. I think expanding the 5505 as excused, and then we could see that extracurricular activities on top.
This refers to applicable codes of conduct, other rules, behavior expectations. Nothing about excuse or unexcused.
Okay.
It kind of makes it broader with all the different tools that we have.
Okay. Right, so what they're, under A1, they're talking about co-curricular activities.
Yep.
So that would be an activity that's connected to a course. The best examples of that would be band or choir,
Yep.
where most of our groups are extracurricular activities, where although they could be, a good example is snow carving, they're connected to a course because it's an art-based activity, but it's not a co-curricular in that everyone that's in art is not on the snow carving team, where everyone that's in band or choir does have those outside of school performance opportunities. But maybe, like Eileen said, if we work on 5505, that would clarify 5507.
So I can't even find the spot that tripped me up.
Well, and we can always come back to it also.
And I'm guessing, because I remember it was at the beginning, I read band or choir, and then in the prior one it was performance. And so even though they're different, right? Because you can be in the play that is not a co-curricular, you're not in the grade, it is different than the band concert where you are part of an academic. And I think in my head it was smoosh, right? But you clarified it, I think it's fine.
Okay. We'll keep working on it. 5508, extracurricular and athletic trips.
Sorry, so, there's no comments?
5509, public appearances of school groups.
Comments?
And 5510, student-initiated non-curricular clubs.
No comments?
And 5511, secret organizations.
No comments. And I know that some of us didn't have time to go in the document, so I'm going to look at everybody that's here. Amy, okay?
Yep.
Okay. Before we move on to the next.
Okay. Okay, then we'll move on to the 5600s, which this is students, curriculum, and, 5600 specifically is student support services. So 5601 is special education.
No comments.
5602, independent education evaluation.
No comments.
5603, section 504.
No comments.
5604, student assistant process.
No comments either.
Okay. Are there any comments on the 5600s? Okay, good. So it looks like it was maybe a good idea to combine those two sections. We can move forward and I'll work on those other policies. So, just a couple last things on my report this evening. Let me just get back.
Before we move away from policy, can I just ask, have we heard back from True?
Yes, I have, I have several of the policies that we're still going back and forth on. Several of them that, a handful of them, they've said are okay. So I'm trying to figure out how's best to move forward because I did sort of get behind with it and I need to move forward with it. So there definitely is an ongoing dialogue and I wonder if we might not pick an upcoming board meeting and just do all of the policies that we've already looked at and not do a new section, and then that might help us catch up.
Okay, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's an ongoing conversation for sure.
Thank you for all that. That's a lot of work.
Okay, so next on my report is just general information regarding the strategic plan. As you all know, we kicked off our strategic plan process this afternoon. We did focus groups with our administrative team and with our board. Our strategic plan update process is being facilitated by the Michigan Association of School Boards. And so we have several dates coming up in May. We're going to be doing a student focus group at Mount Pleasant High School, another student focus group at Mount Pleasant Middle School. We'll have 2 community focus groups, a staff focus group with elementary staff, middle school staff, and high school staff. In addition to all of the focus groups, we have an electronic survey, and I have that information to send that survey out this week. So we'll get that out and going and have folks participate either through a focus group or the electronic survey or both, depending on how folks want to do it.
When do you need names for people who'd like to recommend?
That is the very next thing I was going to say. Yep, so on June 12th, we will have a large community retreat. We'd like to have around 40 people attend the retreat. So certainly we'll invite our administrators and our board, but we would also like recommendations from board members for community members, staff, folks that you'd like to invite. So if you want to email me any names, and if you think it's someone that I may not have contact information for and you have it, that would be helpful. Most people I probably have it, but, so again, we want a wide variety of folks that are community members, parents, non-parents, staff members, different backgrounds, business, education, wide variety of interests. So that will happen on June 12th. Here in this room, we'll begin at 2 o'clock. And then in August, we will have an implementation meeting again with our administrative team where we'll look at our goal areas and what activities we can accomplish in 3 months, in 6 months, in 1 school year, and map that plan out. We'll bring the plan back to you on August 19th to ask for your final approval, and then we'll launch it to our district and to our community on August 21st. So again, just wanted to make sure that everyone had the high-level overview of the important dates and times that are coming up. This will all be sent out to all of our parents via email. It'll be shared through newsletters, links to the survey, invitations to participate. You'll notice that the community groups and the staff groups are virtual. So in Yvonne's experience, those virtual meetings make it easier for folks to participate. She said actually as a facilitator, it's more challenging for her, but she wants as many people participate as possible. Are there any questions about the strategic plan process?
So if I'm a parent and I'm interested in participating, I'm just keeping an eye out on the communication until
That's correct.
there's like multiple ways.
That's correct, yeah, and if you look at this list, we have a community focus group on May 20th. During the day, we have another community focus group on May 21st in the evening. The electronic survey will be sent out this week, and then the retreat will be another. The retreat is, we want it to invite folks and participate, but that could be another opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then, the next item under my report is Teacher Appreciation Month, and I just wanted to take a minute. I know that we all spend the month of May, appreciating a wide variety of different school employees, but this week really is a favorite week of the month when we're able to appreciate our teachers and really thank them for all that they do all year. In the Mount Pleasant Public Schools, we have a great tradition of really recognizing all of our staff because everybody makes a difference in the lives of our students. So our buildings this week have so many fun things planned for our staff, really with the assistance of some of those extra groups that we were just talking about, like our parent involvement groups. But I just wanted to, on behalf of the board, take a minute to really thank our teachers, thank our staff, and make sure that they know how much we do appreciate all that they do in our schools. Our board does have a message to go out to staff this week to share their appreciation as well, but we wanted to make sure that at tonight's meeting, especially with it being the kickoff of this week, that we take a minute to really thank and appreciate all of our staff in our schools. I don't know if anyone has anything you want to add to that. We'll have another message coming. And then finally, I just wanted to be sure to share with everyone that we do have a wide variety of year-end celebrations. Darby gave you just a snapshot of what is happening in our middle school, and I will tell you that all I keep thinking over the last 2 weeks is that Oilers are on the move. We have field trips going everywhere to celebrate everything that you can think of. Lots of great programs in our buildings, lots of programs to bring our parents in, to thank them for what they're doing. So I'll continue to send updates. I know a lot of what we do this time of year is certainly focused on celebrating our seniors. And in our next board meeting, we will approve the names for graduation so we can really focus on all of their accomplishments and begin those achievements. But there's just a lot of great things happening, and if the weather would cooperate, then we'd be able to get there even better. So some examples this week, we have the powwow is tomorrow and Wednesday. That involves 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 10th graders. Last week we had National Honor Society induction. We had a GI Tech Career Fair. Upcoming for our seniors, we have, of course, big events like prom, our senior farewell tour. We have our honors assemblies at the high school where during the day we honor underclassmen and in the evening we honor our graduates. We have commencements for both Oasis Way and Mount Pleasant High School. So it is a jam-packed race to the end of the school year.
I remember last year we put together a table to make sure we could attend as many of those things as we could. I wonder if we could do this again to just make sure that,
Like a board sign up?
yes, that we at least have at least one person for any of these things that would be nice to have us for. Thank you.
I can email that out and then I'll make it into a Google Doc, so as you're able to attend, you can just sign up online.
And if you could add the times as well as the dates.
Yep, and location.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. As much time. So that's all from our board this evening.
Thank you, Jennifer. We received no correspondence from the public this month, and that brings us to our citizens' request to address the board. And we have one person tonight, it's Brendan Hauser.
Ladies and gentlemen, of the board. I'm Brendan Hauser. I am a student here at Mount High School. I'm a 10th grader. I started in the fine arts program here in Mount Pleasant in 6th grade, where I started to learn to play trumpet. I continued on to my 7th grade year as COVID did affect that. I did stop my 8th grade year. I came back this year in trying choir as well as band. I've enjoyed that so much here, and I am so glad we offer so many fine arts programs. One of the problems I do have this year is that the doors to the fine arts hallway have been locked throughout the school year, starting around in November. This has caused problems with timing getting into class, especially going to the bathrooms when they're locked in this fine arts hall. I don't want to say problem, but the issue with this is a special education kid has gotten into the fine arts hallway, disrupting the classes of the students, and there have been multiple times where we've had to evacuate our classrooms into different areas to continue on with class. This problem did lead to the doors being locked almost every day, which does lead to other problems. Of course, when the doors are locked, we were told that the bathrooms would be open down there since the doors would be locked. And the problem of vaping and other things in the bathrooms would be hopefully gone. That has not been the case, which means we have to come outside the hallway to go to the bathrooms, which means we have to somehow find a way back in, whether that's taking time after we come out of the classrooms. And we're supposed to have the 5-minute time to go to the bathroom and come back is a normal, I don't want to say break, but the pastime. But in that time, we have to go to the bathroom, find a way back in. That we've been told to go to the office to have someone let us back in, but sometimes they don't always have somebody available at the time. So most of the time, we do have to call somebody in the class, which if we move forward with getting rid of phones in the school, that could be a problem getting back in unless stuff like this is solved. But I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. Nothing major. I just wanted to see if you guys could figure a solution to it. I don't have a personal solution right away to it, but if you guys could think about it in the future, that'd be nice. Thank you.
That moves us to our consent agenda. We have first to approve our minutes for the March 15th, 2024 regular meeting.
So moved.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have to approve the GIRSD General Fund Budget and Resolution.
So as have been presented this evening, we do have a budget resolution. See that? Budget resolution asking that you approve the information that you presented this evening. And it is a resolution, so it would be a roll call.
All right. Is there a motion to approve the budget resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Jessica Jernigan, aye.
Reading Gregory, yes.
Edie Reed, yes.
Amy Bond, yes.
Tim Woodkirk, yes.
Thank you, everybody. We have to approve the MPPS Emergency Operations Plan.
So again, as Matt Walderzak presented our plans this evening, and you've had the opportunity to look through them, we're asking that you provide approval of our emergency operation plans. And moving forward, this will be an annual approval that we come back and revisit.
Is there a motion to approve the plan?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, everybody. We have the approval of the bond ratification.
So again, there's a ratification resolution in your board packet this evening from Trim Law Firm. As you all know, we did sell our bonds last week, which is Series 2 of a 4-year series from our bond that our community approved in November of 2021. The bond sold for $13,500,000, and we need the approval of this resolution so that we can move forward, complete the process, and receive the funds. I will say it was a very successful sale. We're grateful for the help of Stiefel Nicholas, PFN, and Truman through this process. It's a pretty complex process, so I'm thankful to have the experts to guide us.
Okay,
Yes, of course.
a couple things just for the public to understand. So in this process, we have to be rated by Moody's, and this district got an A1 rating, which is an extremely high rating. We've got A1 ratings, I think, in every single bond that we've done. That shows that we are financially doing things very well, but also shows demographic where our community stands. And they take all that in analysis to create that bond rating. So those who wish to purchase and see our stability as an organization. So I wanted to highlight that A1 rating. It's very impressive. Not only that, but it looks like the rate interest rate that we got was like 3.4, 3.5%, which is quite phenomenal at this time of the market, that we have an interest rate that is 3.4, which area. Considering most other things are double-digit in interest rate. So I want to acknowledge everyone on this team who did all of this work, and our thanks from True and everyone who helped us get this great financing.
Any other comments? Do we have a motion to approve the bond ratification?
So move.
Second.
That's a roll call vote.
It is, yes.
Jessica Jordan, yes.
Reading Fairwell, yes?
Katie Reed, yes.
Thinking about it, yes?
Tim Whitaker, yes.
Thank you, everybody. We have retirements tonight.
Good evening. First on our list is congratulations to Kelly Simon after her many years of service as a teacher in Pleasant Public Schools. We'd like the board to accept her retirement.
Do we have a motion to accept the retirement?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? To Kelly.
Next, we, with regret, would like to accept the resignation of Rachel DeRusha. Rachel has taught in the district for several years, and she also was a coach. She has 2 adorable twins and is going to take some time off for her family.
Do we have a motion to accept the resignation?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Next, we have some new hires. We are excited to welcome Morgan Etzel as a speech and language pathologist. Cassie Ferry is sliding from GSRP to first grade at Ellen, and Missy Groves to 4th grade. We'd like to hire Missy for 4th grade in the future.
Do we have a motion to accept the hiring of our 3 new staff teachers?
So move.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, and welcome to the district. For some, not quite welcome, but it's exciting to have them continue.
Next, we are excited to welcome Mr. Pat Onstadt with his very impressive resume and very difficult media shoes to fill as our new Gresham Isabella Tech Center Director connected to our Mount Pleasant Public School District.
Do we have a motion to accept Pat as our Educated Tech Director?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, and welcome Pat to the new job.
Congratulations.
And last but not least, we would like the board to approve the hire of Corinne Black as our school nurse. I believe you accepted Debbie Agley's retirement last month, and so we are excited to welcome Corinne Black with an impressive resume as a school nurse, and she's going to join our team for the next school year and be able to shadow Deb a little bit as Deb wraps up her career.
And I'll just make a quick note that you'll see a different last name on them. I want to hire this because Corinne was Linda's student back in the day when she was at Real City, so her Black is her maiden name.
That's right.
However, is her married name. but that's how Lynn's number is. She was in her 6th grade class, right?
Well, probably middle school math.
Okay.
We have a motion to hire Corinne Weber as our district nurse.
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. And next we have a donation.
We actually have 2 donations in your board packet this evening. First is from the Isabella County Soup Kitchen. Just before spring break, our food service program donated 380 pounds of milk to the Isabella Community Soup Kitchen. So I know we're not typically accustomed to measuring milk in pounds, but that's how they donated it. And then the second donation is a very generous donation from Peggy Pickler to Mary McGuire Elementary for a 5th grade camp. Peggy donated $1,500 so that those students can be able to go to camp, and she's a wonderful community member. So we're very grateful for those donations and ask the board to accept some this evening.
We have a motion to accept those donations.
So moved.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now we have a new activity account request for our other
So
bank.
I think this is the first because it's the first time I've ever requested an activity account. So that's kind of interesting, but this is an activity account for the Oiler Pack. As we are becoming more prominent and we're growing in size, we would like to be able to have a place to put any funds that are raised for the Oiler Pack that we might be able to use for supplies. So most recently, our pack was at CMU and Grand Hall as they help students get ready for exam week and help calm some fears there. And so we've had lots of groups say we'd like to donate, and we don't have a place for those funds to go. So we're asking that you establish an activity account for the Oiler Pack so that we have a place to put our funds.
Is there a motion to accept the new activity account?
So moved.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
And I believe that brings us to our Board of Education discussion time.
I would like to talk about a couple of activities that I got to take part in recently. I don't know how many people were able to go to Dan Year's the author event, but it was extraordinary. I can't get over the fact that we have that program, and I know Janet, the one who created that program, that it really is one of a kind. And everybody here knows, but it's about helping students who have some special needs become, verbal, become able to write and create their own books, and the whole school community gets involved, and it's just beautiful. I also spent some time at Poland. They had an event that the name escapes me, but different artists were all over the building. Musicians, Day with the Artists, thank you. There were all sorts of people. There were dancers. I spent a lot of time in the gym watching ballet students. It was fantastic. There were musicians of various sorts. There were lots of visual art stuff going on, and it was just great. And that's in collaboration with our groups, right? It was just great that we were able to make all that available to our students.
Thank you for going to those events.
I'd like to say thank you too for the breakfast that we had with celebrating our scholars, our high school seniors, valedictorians, salutatorians. A particularly big thank you to the students that made the breakfast possible, that cooked the food and served the food, and it was just a really great moment, I think, to start kick off the whole celebration for our seniors.
I know I'm not typically in this part of the discussion, but I did want to thank Heather Prevost from our business office for being here tonight, for filling in for Ginger while she's healing from her surgery. We appreciate you here.
And I'd like to thank Brendan for using his opportunity to speak during public comment, so thank you.
Sounds nice to hear from us too. If there's nothing else, it's going to adjourn our board meeting tonight. Thank you, everybody.